To have more horsepower or to not have more horsepower, that is not the question that really any car enthusiast needs to ask themselves, because 9.9 out of 10 men with high enough testosterone levels want more power or no car. Because one thing is for certain, Dodge's direct connection stage kits expose the fact that there is a lot more horsepower being held back through just software, and there's really just one state in the entire United States that is holding us back from receiving all that horsepower that my dear friend Mopar Jesus wants us to receive. But what if I told you that if Stellantis won't sell the 392 or Hellcat powered vehicles in these CARB states, then Stellantis should just go ahead and unlock way more horsepower for the rest of us in our favorite cars and trucks before they're set to return next year. Okay, more over 51,000 friends, and the 56% of you guys who are watching these videos and haven't hit the subscribe button yet, I went looking over the history of FCA and Stellantis, basically from all their emission scandals, from the diesels to all the way to the gas-powered issues. And what I found is that literally this CARB organization, they were literally had their fingers in every single time that basically FCA or Stellantis got caught. And especially, you know, these guys are just looking, trying to find any single little thing that's wrong, looking for ways to scam these companies out of millions of dollars to pay for their green projects in that state. So I revealed last month that before every automotive journalist is now on the bandwagon, that Dodge was not going to sell the Durango Hellcat and the 392 in these CARB states. They will only sell them in basically just federal states. And I can assume we know the reason why, because they won't pass CARB emissions, hence why 2/3 of the Durango Hellcat or just Durango lineup is going to be unavailable in these 17 states. Crazy that if I go buy a Durango Hellcat here in North Carolina and I go move to California for a job, that state is going to try to make me sell my Durango Hellcat, even though it's just a year old, and probably make me sell it at a loss because of these crazy laws that they have over there. Like, I just don't understand how that's even legal in the United States. My new vehicle does not pass their smart laws, like I said, within the same country that we all have a driver license that works in every state. So with that being said, the whole country is now on the bandwagon that yes, Stellantis will now sell certain Hemi powered vehicles in these CARB markets. So you can figure anything with a 392 or a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8 is off the table. TRXs, maybe a return to the track cult, maybe a Grand Wagoneer Hellcat, Hellcat Charger, and other models that might have these bigger engines in there. You can pretty much say they're not going to come to those states. And I'm talking about another video, what Stellantis is probably going to do as an alternative to people that lives in those states. So if this is going to be the case and you got half the country locked off, then maybe Stellantis, they should basically take that and use that to their advantage, increase the horsepower of their models that are going to be sold in every other state. Because the direct connection stage kits expose that the Hemi V8 vehicles, especially the supercharged ones, have plenty of horsepower being held back and literally sitting there on the table. But CARB is basically the main reason why that power is locked, and the power cannot be unlocked because of all the nonsense been going on over the years of trying to get things approved through CARB. It's crazy when I started reading about how things get approved for CARB. You got to pay a sticker every single year, even though the product doesn't change. And if the company stops paying the actual fee to be CARB approved, then if you're going for a small check the next year, your vehicle now does not meet smog. So it's like a crazy little ransom ratchet that these people are trying to come up with. But I'm gonna unlock that for like another day. I mean, we'll get over that crap. It's just crazy just reading on these CARB nonsense, which I'm glad I don't live in California. So for like I was saying, that if these stage kits aren't actually released because of CARB, I mean, if you think about it, right, it's been 5 years basically since Tim Knisis walked across the stage and said this about the stage kits.
These are the factory performance parts that you've been asking for, like Hellcat and Redeye stage kits. tuned and updated with a direct connection PCM tuning module. These kits are emissions compliant and they won't violate your factory warranty. Our Stage 2 kit delivers a nearly 100 horsepower increase, and Stage 3 is under development for even more.
We're basically about to be a whole nother year out, and none of these stage kits that's on this list right here are actually even available still. I mean, I would love to see a Demon stage kit, especially for the 2023 Demon 170, which there may or may not be one, but because of CARB, you know, Dodge not gonna release it. But hell, I don't have that problem of living in a CARB state. So why not release the Demon 170 stage kit or whatever? That way we can go ahead and have more horsepower than the Corvette 01 and stuff. And for the guys that live in CARB states, we're like, oh well, I mean, it's not our fault. We can't sell it there. You go talk to California, go talk to your elected representatives in your state and tell them that you don't want to buy our CARB no more. So I guess just put the onus that people need to go and be more vocal and tell their local governments they don't want to follow this CARB nonsense anymore, because other people are able to do things with their cars that I can't. So I'm just saying that since they don't want to actually do this nonsense in these CARB states anymore, they're not gonna sell vehicles in the CARB states anymore, then why not do something new and different, right? Like, I don't even like the whole stage kit thing, period, because I don't like that stupid controller on there. So I'm gonna say, for one thing, for this video, why not go and for these new vehicles coming out, the Durango Hellcat haven't been released yet, TRX hasn't even been announced yet and stuff. We know there's gonna be a Charger Hellcat, and we know Jeep's gonna put some Hemis in some of their models and stuff. Why not make the stage kits like a, let's say maybe a factory option? So make it so like they come from the factory with those options already baked into the software, eliminate the stage kit controller and all that crap. And if those vehicles aren't be sold in CARB states anyway, what's the problem? Why not go ahead and do it that way, right? I mean, they're more than likely these vehicles will never go from, let's say, North Carolina to Pennsylvania or California anyway, because they won't have that crazy CARB ransom tax stamp that all these vehicles got to have in the first place, because Stellantis did it the other, what 2024 or 2023, where you had CARB versions of TRXs and non-CARB versions of TRXs, right? You had CARB versions of Hellcats and Scat Pack and stuff, and non-versions of Hellcats and Scat Pack and stuff. So why not go ahead and take these stage kits, put them right there in the factory software, because they're never going to go to these CARB states anyway. If there's a deal to be worked out to where this CARB nonsense gets eliminated, because I guess they're in court right now battling whether or not it's legal or illegal to basically apply their own emissions rules, since Congress voted a lot of stuff out. In the meantime, while all that crap being worked out, give the rest of us who don't live in these crazy states, give us the ability to have stage kits from the factory, right? Go and install, I would say stage kit 1 or maybe stage kit 2, for example, and then load them into the software and eliminate that crazy stage kit controller, because I don't want an extra screen hanging off my dad's, like a big old TomTom screen hanging off my center console or whatever. I'm just saying, if you have an SRT product, for example, in the old days you had to where like you basically had a red key for full horsepower, like 700 horsepower, and you had basically like a black key that take you down to like 500 horsepower. For these new SRT products and stuff, do it the same way with these stage kits, right? If you got like a stage kit for your vehicle, let's say it's a TRX, for example, right? For, let's just say the TRX, you have the black key that's regular 700 horsepower. But if you have the red key and you have stage kit installed in your TRX, for example, you have like 752 horsepower unlocked in an actual TRX. And the same thing happened with the Hellcat Charger when that comes out and stuff, a Trackhawk when that comes out, a Grand Wagoneer Hellcat when that comes out and stuff. Integrate these stage kits into these vehicles, which will fix the problem that you want this new era of vehicles to kind of stand out from the old era of vehicles. Then they'll have more horsepower than the competition, because the competition has caught up, because the actual, the Raptor R has 720 horsepower. So if Ram can go ahead and get an exemption to put the stage kit on it from the factory, and they can give a TRX 750 some horsepower, so they have 30 more horsepower than a Raptor R from the get-go, right? So I'm just saying. Now, of course, I would have to see something like Antonio Filoso having to go put a call in to the president of the United States to say, hey, look, hey, you know what? Can we get kind of like an emissions waiver or recertification waiver? because a bunch of our stage kits, like the Hellcats and the Redeye stage kits, they're already 50 state legal. We just want to integrate the stage kits into the factory software to do something that's already legal, to give our customers even more freedom to choose what they want to drive. So will you allow us to have a waiver over the next year or two to basically get this stuff integrated into the software, and then after that we'll go and do something different, or we'll go through the regular certification process and stuff, right? I mean, currently there are 0 Hellcat powered vehicles in production because, like I said earlier, the Durango Hellcat has been delayed for 2026 model year, and there is basically that. I think that's a great way to go start bringing more horsepower back alongside the actual jailbreak program that the Durango Hellcat has. But this right here is just basically my way of getting these stage kits integrated to the software, which would be like a lot more cleaner way of being able to actually get this done. And it solves a lot of problems because you don't gotta go to find you a power brokers dealer and dealing with their BS or these crazy install fees and stuff. No exterior freaking controller hanging off your dash. There's a way better, cleaner install, because I mean, if you just basically make it as simple as possible. One key has this tune, another key has that tune. That is very simple. And another thing I would love to see is if my dear friend Tim Kaniskis will put the E85 sensor on basically all the Hemis going forward and stuff, right? I mean, there should be no problem in allowing these vehicles to have E85, which allows to have cheaper fuel stuff, especially compared to like 93 octane and stuff. And that's one thing I don't necessarily like between my Z06 and my D170 is my Z06 costs a lot more money to fill up compared to $2 and change on E85 than my D170 stuff. So that's why I drive my D170 a lot more, because the fuel is cheaper. Yeah, I may have to basically fill up the fuel tank a lot more often, but heck, having a lot less money out of my pocket still wins out, because then like you're gonna daily drive a D170 anyway, right? So I love the E85 sensor in the D170 because it's as simple as going between 93 octane by filling the gas tank up with 93 and stuff. The horsepower level automatically comes down, and then you go and put E85 back in the tank where the 93 is basically on empty, and basically the horsepower go right back up. Keep it simple, stupid. And I think that's a great way for them to increase more horsepower without having to go through all this recertification stuff. And maybe this is something that SRT will consider next year, because they may have to get things certified, especially with the E85 sensor and stuff like that. But I think it'd be awesome, and I think it'd be a great way in order to actually get people to have more horsepower and make their tunes a lot flexible, a lot easier stuff, to make it easy for the simple people just to have one key for this power, one key for that power, and boom, bam, that's it. I mean, I think this would be awesome for a lot of us to live in the South who have easy access to E85. But I mean, hey, I'm just saying that I've been enjoying it my last years and change. I've had my D170, but that's just me. But let me know what you guys think. Since Dodge and Ram won't sell the most powerful SRT Hemi products in CARB states, should we see more horsepower since we don't got to abide by those CARB emissions laws? Should every supercharged Hemi V8 from SRT come with stage kits installed and E85 sensor from D170 to give us the most powerful cars possible? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you want to find out about why the upcoming Charger Hellcat will be one of the biggest and heaviest Hellcats ever, you can check this video right here. And until the next time, I am out.